Hey, what's going on? It's Barrett with Espresso Outlet, and today I'm going to go over something that we get asked all the time. And we get phone calls, we get emails, Facebook messages, and it's which grinder is right for me. And that's really kind of a subjective question to your personal needs and even just your budget. So what are you going to use this for? Is it espresso only? Is it going to be pour over only? Are you trying to dual purpose it and do multiple methods with the same grinder? And then just the budget that you're looking for, or are you wanting more than one grinder and you're trying to choose a nice combination to get everything that you want out of your grinder. So today I'm going to go over these 5 in front of me, or 6 in front of me, excuse me. And we're just going to start with the DF83. So the DF83 is kind of our large grinder. It has 83 millimeter flat burrs. The flat burrs are reminiscent of the Mauser Major burrs. They are a towel mill instead of Mauser. A towel mill makes very nice burrs. I was actually really surprised when I got my first DF64 with the towel mill, and I kind of actually preferred the towel mill over my Mauser Super Jolly burrs. So a little bit surprising. They are just a very nice basic burr. Now this one, it does have a burr upgrade from SSP, and there's going to be more burr upgrades in the near future. The burrs are quite a bit more expensive than like the next one that we're going to talk about, but I really feel like this is an awesome grinder. So who is this for? This is for someone that just wants an amazing espresso. This grinder, it's going to pull through. It's going to do just top-notch espresso. It's going to be like a traditional espresso burr style, and it's going to give you like that mouthfeel, that kind of viscous, delicious coffee taste in your mouth. It's not going to be like real watery. A lot of your conical grinders, they give you that additional mouthfeel that some people do like. But what this 83 is going to do is it's going to give you a lot more clarity. So you're going to be able to pick out a lot more of those flavors on your coffee wheel instead of it being a little bit more muddy flavored like you get out of a conical. So this is a pretty awesome grinder. It's actually, out of everything up here, I would say it's my favorite just because of what I use it for. It retails for $6.99 at Espresso Outlet. And the burr upgrade, at least right now, that's the SSP High Uniformity, are $325 adder. You will get both sets of burrs in the box if you choose to upgrade. So next one is just your classic DF64. And this has been awesome. And I've kind of mentioned it in some other videos before. Joe mentioned it to me and I was like, I don't know, I don't really like single dosing that much. I like my Atom 75. I don't know, we'll see. And I didn't really want it, and he just mailed me one. And I pulled it out of the box, I'm like, whoa, this thing is much nicer than what I expected. And as soon as I pulled it out and I ground a few shots, I was hooked. So I have a Mauser Super Jolly, it's behind me, not in the picture. And it uses the same burrs as the Mauser Super Jolly. So this is, the burr set's been out for ages, decades. And it's just a really proven burr set. Now, again, these are towel mill burrs. So they're not the Mauser burrs, but I really like them a lot. It's a smaller burr than the 83, obviously. It's a 64 millimeter burr. We have 3 burr upgrade options. We have the SSP multi-purpose or high uniformity. It goes by either name. And then you have, you have the multi-purpose unimodal. And then you have the high uniformity. So the high uniformity is going to be very close to what comes in the grinder, but it's a much nicer burr. And it makes great espresso. It gives you that additional mouthfeel, but it also offers quite a bit of clarity. You'll notice less of a difference between the multi-purpose / unimodal. They go by the same name. But those burrs can be quite picky. And if it's your one and only grinder and you're using it for espresso, I don't know if you're going to love it. You might. If you're going to use it for drip, those multi-purpose unimodal burrs are very good for drip. They are also extremely good for your light roasts. So if you're trying to outfit 2 grinders, I would probably go with the high uniformity or the stock burrs, and then put the unimodal burrs in your second grinder. That way you can do pretty much a huge array of different coffee beans. This grinder right now retails for $375. The burrs are a $185 upgrade. I guess I did forget to mention one set of burrs, and it is the Cast Lab Suite. And this is something that I get quite a few questions on. I was really excited when they came out. I have a Ditting, and they were kind of the first to really get the Lab Suite stuff going, and the Malkonig. And I love them. I mean, they're great burrs. But when it comes to espresso, they're very hard to dial in. And not every bean is going to dial in well. So I probably wouldn't recommend them as your one and only burr set. If it's a second or third burr set, yeah, go for it. You're going to love it. You're going to love it for pour over. They're awesome for pour over. If you get that 1 in a million, just not even 1 in a million, but the perfect coffee bean and it's perfectly dialed in, it's next level. It's amazing. But I'd probably recommend just sticking with the high uniformity burr set, and if it's a second grinder, maybe do a multi-purpose unimodal. So that's pretty much everything on the DF64, and we're on to our brand new one. This is the DF64V, and we are very excited about this. It is very similar to the DF64, but you can tell it's quite a bit smaller. It has a DC motor. It's a 300 watt brushless DC motor. And why that's important is it allows variable speed. So you can see off to the side, it actually, I don't have it plugged in, has an adjustable speed dial. And why that is really cool is you can slow your RPM down for a lot cleaner drip coffee. So it goes 600 to 1800 RPM. 600 is the lowest. Typically your drip, you can grind anywhere between 600 and 1800 RPM. It doesn't matter. I usually do 6 to 8 on drip. On espresso, we don't recommend going below 1200 because you have a chance of stalling it. It's just too slow for these flat burrs. A lot of people said, oh, I wish it went like 50 RPMs or 100 RPMs. Well, it's not a conical grinder, it's a flat grinder. So the 600 RPM is actually quite nice for these flat burrs. If it was a conical going slower, it'd be very nice. Couple different changes on this. The mechanism to adjust it on this one is on the outside. This one is actually this collar on the inside, and why that's cool is you can unscrew this cap, clean your burrs, put it all back together, and it's really easy to redial your grinder as long as you don't move this upper collar. It's a little bit easier, the threading's a little bit nicer. I just love it. It has a built-in anti-popcorn device in the top. It has a nice funnel. And then it kind of has like a nice little funnel to pour your beans in. It has a much smaller bellows and this nice little oak lid. So that's really cool. I usually pop this lid off, dump my beans in, and put it back on. It has a power button on the other side. I recommend with this grinder RDT and doing a hot start. I recommend a hot start on all of these, but if you're going to go with the lower RPMs, it's a good idea to do a hot start on this. It just is. Which leads to kind of one of my last really cool innovative upgrades. It has this magnetic chute that you can pull off, and you can clean your grinder. So it comes with a little brush. I have it over here. And it has a stainless steel metal declumper. And you just kind of give it a brush every few days and pop this chute back on. Done. You're clean. If you want to go a little bit crazier, the entire chute comes off. And let me grab a different brush. Just take a wide brush and just kind of brush the whole front. Maybe pump the bellows a few times and then put it all back together. This thing stays extremely clean. I purposely did not clean it or do anything to it. I didn't brush the chute out. And I used it for at least 2 weeks. And this was with the multi-purpose burrs. And I was swapping them back to the original burrs. And extremely clean. I posted pictures on Facebook. Pretty awesome. So anyone worried about static, doesn't have it. Anyone worried about the declumper, declumper's awesome. Anyone worried about What is some of the other stuff? I love this grinder. It's awesome. So kind of a no-brainer, and this one is very good for drip as well as espresso, which I guess I should have covered this, but the burrs that it come with are no longer the Italmill burrs in this grinder. They're an upgraded burr from Turin, and they are a black DLC coated burr. The DLC stands for Diamond Like Carbon, and I have a whole write-up. Go to Espresso Outlet and go to our blog. There's a really cool write-up, pretty easy read. It tells you all about this. I really like it. I like it over the red speed coating because the red speed coating, if you scratch it, that coating will want to peel. With the DLC, it's actually kind of embedded onto the metal itself. So if you scratch it, like if your burrs touch, it's going to scrape it off in that location maybe, but it's not just going to start peeling off. Sometimes people get the SSP burrs and they'll say, man, my burrs are messed up. Well, it's actually that coating. It's a really thin coating on the outside, and you just need to run some burrs through it. They're not messed up. But these DLC burrs are extremely nice and extremely close to the SSP high uniformity burrs. So I said, I didn't notice like the biggest difference in putting them in the DF64. I mean, they're nice. I love them. I enjoy having them. I can tell a difference. 185 bucks, maybe, maybe not. If I am replacing burrs, I'd probably put those in. But it was a harder sell for me. If I was doing the multi-purpose unimodal or the cast for a different reason, I mean, those, in my opinion, were worth 185 bucks. Well, this grinder, you're getting the variable speed, you're getting the DC motor, you're getting the upgraded burrs that I actually prefer over the SSP. I don't want to say that, but I think they're as good or better. So I think this is just a wonderful grinder. It is going to change grinding for home users. So that's enough of the DF64V. Let's go on to another brand new one. It is the SK40. So it's this guy right here, and it is a conical grinder. Now, we had the SD40, we'll go over that here in a minute. We've had the SD40 for quite some time, and there's been a couple complaints about it, and you just have to, I think people are trying to use it for something that maybe it's not. So what they did was they took the SK40 and they actually upgraded the burr set to an 8-point conical burr. So it's an upgraded version 2 burr for this grinder, and I didn't think I'd notice a difference, and I can tell a big difference between the V1 and V2, personally. The next big upgrade is it has this worm gear adjustment, and it's kind of hard to see. I don't want to move my camera right now. But you move this little worm gear, and it gives you this very nice stepless adjustment. So this grinder is $179 for now. It's probably going to go up. But you're able to do espresso very easily with this, which was kind of the big complaint with the SD40. The SD40 is a step grinder. We'll take a look at that in here in a minute. But sometimes you're kind of between two steps and you're not quite dialed in. You're either a little too slow or a little too fast. You're like, man, I wish I could go between these steps. Well, now you have this stepless design. Kind of has like a monolith style grinder. I like that they put the overload in the back because I always thought that was ugly on the SD40. It has the button on the side right here. It's a really nice button. It has like a nice tactile feedback. Has a little magnetic holder for the cup and a nice dosing cup. So I think this is like really a sweet grinder, and I'm not a huge conical fan, but I really like the SD40. I mean, for less than $200, it's an awesome grinder. And if you're looking for a second grinder or a small grinder or a pour over only grinder, this is gonna be awesome. So maybe one of the downsides to this is if you're gonna change from an espresso setting to a pour over setting, you're gonna spin this for a while. I mean, if you have 10 seconds, it doesn't take that long to do it. Most people probably are swapping back and forth every single day, so they're probably gonna do drip for a few days, espresso, maybe on the weekends. I personally don't find it as an issue, but I just wanted to point that out, that people wanted the stepless adjustment but they might find it a little bit more time consuming to make their adjustment. So this is pretty awesome grinder. Right now, this one only comes in black. I should have probably mentioned that on all these. This DF83 comes in white or black. DF64, I can't even tell you what it comes in. Comes in black, white, silver, green, pink, blue, couple others. I can't even remember. Carbon fiber, white, so on. DF64V, this is the, I think, aluminum or silver. We have a dark gray, which is kind of like your apple dark gray, and then you have more of a black. So this is the lightest color. This one here only comes in black for right now with this oak lid. So I feel like this grinder is kind of a must-have second grinder on your counter. I really like it. I really do. Which leads me to second to last. This is the SD40. So this is the SK, this is the SD40. And it comes in a couple different options. So it comes in a black and a white. This is the black, obviously. And it is a stepped adjustment mechanism. So you're going to push this button and you're going to spin it. It's really easy. So you can go from an espresso setting to whatever, just extremely fast. And that can be kind of nice, but yet again, you're gonna be kind of stuck in the middle if you're trying to stop between two settings, which it doesn't look like that much, but it can be quite a bit. I will let you know this is the V1 grinder, but it has been recently upgraded to the V2. So I don't even think we have any V1 left in stock. So every grinder, unless it says V1 on our website, will be the new V2 grinder. And yet again, it is $179 for the black or the white. I think it's a steal. I mean, you can see my hand, it's just such a small grinder. It takes up no room on your counter. You can opt for an aluminum version. It's kind of a brushed aluminum. It's like a little bit more. It's like $15 more. I think it's $194, but it looks very sharp too. It looks a lot closer to this DF64V. I think the SK40 is going to go up in price. This will probably stay about the same. But if you're looking for more of like your dedicated drip grinder and you don't want to mess with the worm gear, pretty solid. So that leads us to our last grinder, and it is this hand grinder. This is brand new from Turin. Excuse me. We're calling it the H40. And I've really been liking this. So if you take out these burrs and you compare them with these two burrs, they're basically the same burr, except it's a hand grinder. And hand grinding has become extremely popular in the past few years. And people like it because they want to go to work. They want to throw it in their backpack or leave it in their desk drawer and maybe make like a V60 or a Chemex or some sort of a drip, an AeroPress. We have an AeroPress behind us. I've always said these are kind of like a nice little duo. They go together very nicely. And I think it's a lot of fun. Takes a little bit of time on espresso. It takes about 45 seconds to grind espresso. But Dylan and I have both done espresso on this multiple times, and it's great. It's basically the exact same as these two SD and SK40s off to the side. I really use it for kind of an on-the-go grinder. It has this handle, it has a magnetic top, and it has ball bearings built into it. So this thing is made very nice. I can't remember how many grind adjustment settings it has, from 1 to 60, and then you have 5 different levels of dots on the side. So you have quite a few settings. It's not stepless, but I think it's awesome. I've actually been carrying this in my backpack for at least the past month, and it's just been a solid aluminum grinder. I mean, it has a lot of weight to it, but it's not just like 1,000,000 pounds that you're carrying around. So that's kind of our grinder lined up and who it's for. Just a quick recap, if I was going to do it. This is probably a serious espresso user. You can use it for pour over, and it's great. I actually really love the pour over out of this. You have your DF64 right here, and depending on the burr, you can really make this grinder a drip only grinder, an espresso only grinder, a light coffee grinder, a dark coffee grinder, or depending on the burr, you can make it more multi-purpose. And I feel like the burrs that come in it do a very good job at being a multi-purpose grinder. So this is kind of like your Swiss Army knife. You can do anything with it, but you can also change out your burrs and make it a very specific grinder to something that you're specifically looking for. Which leads us to the DF64V, which is kind of like your big Swiss Army knife, but it's very nice, has tons of premium features on it. I love this grinder. If I could only keep two, I'd probably say these two, because I think both of them are just fantastic. It allows you the variable speed, which is really nice for some of your pour over, especially if you like a flat pour over. So, very cool grinder. You have your SK40, which kind of brings very inexpensive conicals to the Turin lineup. But also, I say brings it. This has been out for a while. It brings the ability to easily do espresso and have a nice stepless adjustment. So this is pretty awesome. Been very excited about that. I did a disassembly video and I started laughing at how big the motor in this thing was, because it's just such an awesome motor for less than $200 grinder. And then we have the SD40. It's kind of been our little tried and true, fairly inexpensive conical grinder. If you have, like, let's say, basically any Brazza, the Breville Smart Grinder Pro, anything like that, these will blow those out of the water, in my opinion. They are so much better. They're built so much better. Really just enjoy them. And then if you're kind of like someone on the go, one of these little hand grinders, or even, let's say, you bought one of these flat burrs and you wanted a conical just on occasion. It doesn't take 30 seconds to grind 20 grams of coffee for a V60. Put this in your drawer, and then you have a conical grinder as well. If you want a little bit of the best of both worlds without really adding a whole lot more money to your espresso bar. So it's a really nice lineup. A lot of people, they said they wish some of these things would have happened sooner, but it just takes time to kind of evolve these grinders and offer features that everyone wants, because things that I love, other people just don't find value in. So we all have our tastes, we all have things that we like and don't like. But I hope this kind of helps you make some decisions as you choose a grinder. Next thing that I'll probably do would be a separate video just kind of going over the different burrs. We're probably going to go over stock and SSP, the stock and the 3 different SSP, and then the DLC on these 3 flat burrs. So I think that'll be pretty interesting. I get a lot of questions about that as well. But hit subscribe. I hope this helped y'all out. I had a lot of fun talking about them. I kind of give this speech at least once a day, it seems like. So thanks for watching.